The shocking betrayal. The message that shattered everything. Sophia Winters stared at her phone screen, the glow illuminating her trembling hands in the darkness of her bedroom. The message was simple, brutal, impossible to misunderstand. Your husband isn't working late. He's with me. Come to the Riverside Hotel, room 237, if you want proof. A friend. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Marcus had kissed her goodbye that morning, his lips warm against her forehead, his voice gentle as he promised to be home by midnight. 5 years of marriage, 5 years of trust, 5 years of believing in the fairy tale they'd built together. The clock read 11:47 p.m. She should ignore this. She should delete the message and trust her husband. But her hands were already reaching for her car keys. The drive to truth. Rain hammered against the windshield as Sophia drove through the empty streets, her mind racing faster than the wipers could clear the glass. She'd met Marcus at a charity gala 6 years ago. He'd been everything she'd dreamed of. Handsome, successful, attentive. He owned a chain of luxury restaurants, and she'd fallen in love with the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room. They'd married quickly, passionately. Her friends had called it a whirlwind romance. Her mother had warned her to slow down, but Sophia had been certain. Marcus was her forever. Now, as the Riverside Hotel's neon sign flickered into view, doubt clawed at her throat like a living thing. The hallway of no return. The hotel lobby was deserted except for a bored desk clerk who didn't look up as Sophia walked past. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, each step echoing like a countdown. Second floor, room 237. She stood outside the door, her hand raised to knock but frozen in place. What if this was a mistake? What if someone was playing a cruel joke? What if a woman's laugh filtered through the door, high, breathless, intimate? Then Marcus's voice, lower, saying something Sophia couldn't make out, followed by more laughter. Her hand dropped to the door handle. It was unlocked. The moment everything died, Sophia pushed the door open slowly, silently. The room was dimly lit, shadows dancing across rumpled sheets. And there on the bed was Marcus. Shirtless, his hands tangled in the auburn hair of a woman Sophia recognized instantly. Vanessa Chen, her best friend since college. The woman who'd been her maid of honor. The woman who came to their house for dinner every Sunday. The woman who'd held Sophia while she cried about her father's death last year. Time stopped. The world tilted. Sophia's purse slipped from her shoulder and hit the floor with a dull thud. Marcus's head snapped toward the door. His face went white. Sophia. How long? Sophia's voice came out steady, cold, unfamiliar even to her own ears. Vanessa sat up, pulling the sheet around herself, but there was no shame in her eyes, only something that looked almost like satisfaction. Sophia, how? Long? Marcus stood, reaching for his shirt. This isn't what it looks like, Sophia laughed. It sounded wrong, broken. You're going to stand there half naked in a hotel room with my best friend and tell me this isn't what it looks like? 2 years, Vanessa said suddenly, her voice clear and sharp. She stood too, not bothering to cover herself further. It's been 2 years, Sophia. And honestly, he was never really yours to begin with. The truth unfolds. The words hit like physical blows. 2 years. 2 years of lies, 2 years of Sunday dinners where they'd all laughed together. 2 years of Vanessa consoling Sophia about her struggles to get pregnant, holding her hand through negative test after negative test. You, Sophia, couldn't finish the sentence. Her lungs weren't working properly. Marcus stepped forward, his face a mask of practiced concern that Sophia suddenly recognized as the face of a stranger. Let me explain. Explain? Sophia's voice rose. Explain how you've been sleeping with my best friend for 2 years? Explain how every time you said you were working late, you were with her? Explain how you looked me in the eye every single day and lied. You were never enough for him, Vanessa said, her tone almost conversational. You're too soft, too needy. Marcus needs someone who understands his ambitions, his drive, someone who can match him. Sophia's hands clenched into fists. You're supposed to be my friend. I was tired of being in your shadow, Vanessa shot back. Sweet, perfect Sophia with her perfect husband and her perfect life. Do you know how exhausting it was pretending to be happy for you? The breaking point. Marcus moved between them. Vanessa, enough. No. Sophia's voice cut through the room like a blade. Let her talk. I want to hear all of it. Vanessa smiled, and it was cruel. You want the truth? Fine. Marcus and I started sleeping together 6 months after your wedding. That trip to Chicago for your anniversary? He invited me. That business conference in Miami? We spent it on the beach. Every time you called him crying about another failed pregnancy test, he'd come straight to me. Sophia felt something inside her chest crack. Not break, not yet. Just crack. Enough to let something dark and cold seep through. And the pregnancy tests, Sophia said slowly. The ones that kept coming back negative. Marcus's expression flickered, just for a second. But Sophia saw it. What did you do? She whispered. Sophia, what did you do, Marcus? The silence stretched. Then Vanessa laughed again, that high, breathless sound. Oh, this is going to be good, Marcus's jaw tightened. The fertility doctor. Dr. Hammond. He's a friend of mine. I asked him to tell you there were complications, that it would be difficult to conceive. The room spun. There's nothing wrong with me? No, Marcus said quietly. But I couldn't have you getting pregnant. Not when I was planning to leave you for Vanessa. The rage awakens. Something inside Sophia didn't just crack. It shattered. 5 years of her life. 5 years of loving a man who'd been planning to discard her. 5 years of believing she was broken, that her body was failing her, when the only thing that had failed was her judgment. Get out, she said. Sophia, get out. Her voice dropped to something dangerous. Both of you. Get out before I do something we'll all regret. Marcus grabbed his jacket. Vanessa took her time getting dressed, her movements deliberate, almost mocking. They left without another word. Sophia stood alone in the hotel room, surrounded by the wreckage of her marriage, and felt something new rising inside her. Not grief, not despair, fury. Cold, calculated fury. The vow. She pulled out her phone and took pictures. The rumpled bed, the scattered clothes. the champagne bottle on the nightstand with 2 glasses. Evidence. Then she called her lawyer. It was midnight, but Richard answered on the 3rd ring. He'd been her father's attorney for 20 years, and he owed her family everything. "Sophia, what's wrong?" "I need you to destroy someone," she said calmly. "I need you to take everything they have and burn it to the ground." "Who?" "My husband. And I need it done quietly, efficiently, and completely." There was a pause. "What happened?" "I'll explain everything tomorrow." "But Richard, I want him to lose everything, his restaurants, his reputation, his future, everything. Consider it done." Sophia hung up and looked at herself in the hotel mirror. Her eyes were dry, her hands were steady. The woman staring back at her was someone new. Someone harder. Someone who'd been pushed too far. "You wanted to destroy me," she whispered to the empty room. "Let me show you what real destruction looks like." She walked out of the Riverside Hotel with her head high, leaving behind the ashes of who she used to be and carrying the spark of who she was about to become. What happens when the woman they underestimated becomes the storm they can't outrun? Welcome to Crownfire Tales. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Heartbreak and Revenge. The Morning After Hell. Sophia didn't sleep. She sat at her kitchen table as dawn broke over the city, surrounded by papers, photographs, and a laptop displaying bank statements she'd never been allowed to see. Richard had sent everything within hours. Marcus's financial records, business contracts, even the deed to their house. Everything was in Marcus's name. Everything except one thing. The trust fund from her father, $2 million Marcus had never been able to touch, because her father, brilliant man that he was, had made it untouchable by anyone but Sophia. Marcus had tried to convince her to dissolve it, to invest it in the restaurants. She'd refused. The only time in their marriage she'd stood firm. Now she understood why he'd been so desperate. The investigation begins. Richard arrived at 8 sharp, his silver hair perfectly combed, his suit immaculate. He set his briefcase on the table and pulled out a thick folder. "I've been digging all night," he said. "Sophia, your husband is in serious trouble. Tell me everything." Richard opened the folder. "Marcus's restaurants are failing. He's been hemorrhaging money for 18 months. 3 locations are on the verge of bankruptcy. He's taken out loans against everything. The house, his cars, even his mother's property." Sophia's blood ran cold. "How much does he owe?" "Roughly $4 million. And the creditors are circling. He has maybe 3 months before they start seizing assets. He needed my trust fund," Sophia said slowly, desperately. "Without it, he loses everything." Richard paused. "There's more. Vanessa Chen has been investing in his business. She's put nearly $500,000 into the restaurants over the past year. She's funding his affair with me," Sophia said bitterly. "No." Richard's expression darkened. "She's positioning herself to take over when everything collapses. I found documents. She's been negotiating with his creditors, offering to buy his debts at a discount. When Marcus goes under, Vanessa will own everything." Sophia leaned back, her mind reeling. "She's not in love with him. She's using him, just like he used you." The realization. Sophia stood and walked to the window, staring out at the city Marcus had promised to conquer with her by his side. But it had all been a lie. He'd never seen her as a partner. Just a bank account with legs, and Vanessa had seen an opportunity to take everything. They deserve each other, Sophia said quietly. But they don't deserve to win. What do you want to do? Sophia turned, and Richard saw something in her eyes that made him sit up straighter. This wasn't the soft, gentle woman who'd married Marcus 5 years ago. This was someone new. Someone forged in betrayal and tempered by rage. I want to save his business, Sophia said. Richard blinked. What? I want to save his restaurants, pay off his debts, and make sure he doesn't lose everything. She smiled, and it was cold. And then I want to take it all away from him. The plan. Over the next 3 days, Sophia worked with Richard to execute the most calculated revenge she could imagine. First, they approached Marcus's creditors quietly, offering to pay off his debts in full using her trust fund. The creditors, eager to avoid a messy bankruptcy, agreed immediately. Then they restructured the business. Every restaurant, every asset, every piece of property Marcus had mortgaged was transferred into a new LLC. An LLC owned entirely by Sophia. Marcus knew nothing. He was too busy juggling his failing business and sneaking away to be with Vanessa. Sophia filed for divorce the same day the transfers were completed, citing adultery and fraud. Richard made sure the filing was public, documented, and devastating. The confrontation. Marcus showed up at the house that night, furious. He didn't knock. He used his key and stormed into the kitchen where Sophia was calmly drinking tea. "What the hell did you do?" he shouted. Sophia didn't flinch. "I saved your business. You're welcome." "Saved?" Marcus stared at her. "You can't just take my restaurants. I didn't take them. I paid off your debts. $4 million, Marcus. You should be thanking me. Those are my restaurants." "No." Sophia set down her teacup. "They're mine. I own them. Every brick, every kitchen, every liquor license. It's all in my name now." Marcus's face went purple. "You can't do this. I already did. And you know what? The staff loves me. I've been visiting the locations all week, meeting the managers, the chefs, the servers. They all told me how poorly you've been treating them. Late paychecks, verbal abuse, impossible demands. They're thrilled I'm taking over. You don't know anything about running restaurants. Neither do you, apparently. That's why they're failing." Sophia stood. "But don't worry, I'll fix them. I'll make them profitable again. And then I'll sell them for a fortune and use the money to fund the charity I'm starting in my father's name." Marcus lunged forward, but Richard appeared in the doorway, 2 police officers behind him. "I wouldn't," Richard said calmly. "Assault charges won't help your situation." Marcus stopped, breathing hard. "You can't do this to me. You did this to yourself," Sophia said. "You lied, cheated, manipulated me for years. You tried to make me think I was broken so you could control me. Well, guess what? I'm not broken. I'm done." The betrayal revealed. The officers escorted Marcus out. Sophia watched through the window as he sat in his car, head in his hands. Then his phone rang. She couldn't hear the conversation, but she saw his expression change from defeat to rage. He got out of the car and stared at the house, his eyes finding Sophia in the window. Then he drove away, tires screeching. Richard closed the curtains. He just found out about Vanessa. What about her? I arranged for him to receive documents showing Vanessa's plan to buy his debts and take over his business, along with evidence that she's been sleeping with his business partner, David Lynn, for the past 6 months. Sophia's eyes widened. She's cheating on him too? Vanessa Chen doesn't love anyone but herself. Marcus was just a stepping stone. Richard smiled grimly. I thought he should know. The unraveling. Over the next week, Sophia watched Marcus's life implode with detached satisfaction. He confronted Vanessa, and their fight was loud, public, and recorded by multiple witnesses. Vanessa admitted everything: the affair with David, her plan to take his business, her manipulation. Marcus tried to salvage his reputation, but the damage was done. The divorce documents went public, exposing his adultery. His remaining investors pulled out. His mother stopped speaking to him. And Sophia? She thrived. The restaurant stabilized under her management. She hired new staff, improved working conditions, and implemented the changes her father had always suggested. Within a month, profits were up 15%. She started the charity, the James Winters Foundation for Betrayed Spouses, offering legal assistance, financial counseling, and emotional support to people going through divorces. The media loved the story. Woman turns betrayal into business empire and charitable mission. The unexpected visitor. One evening, as Sophia locked up her office at the foundation, a man approached her in the parking lot. He was tall, dark-haired, with kind eyes and a nervous smile. Miss Winters? Sophia tensed. Can I help you? I'm Daniel Reed. I'm a journalist. I've been following your story, and I'd love to interview you for a piece I'm writing about resilience and revenge. I'm not interested in publicity. I know. That's why I want to talk to you. Daniel held up his hands. No cameras, no recorders. Just a conversation. I think your story could help a lot of people. Sophia studied him. There was something genuine in his expression, something that reminded her of her father. 1 hour. Coffee shop around the corner. Deal. The connection. They talked for 3 hours. Daniel was thoughtful, asking questions that went deeper than the scandal. He wanted to know how she'd found the strength to fight back, how she'd managed to turn her pain into purpose. I didn't have a choice, Sophia said. I could either let them destroy me, or I could destroy the lie they'd built around me and create something real. That takes courage, no. It takes rage. Sophia smiled faintly. But I'm learning to channel it into something constructive. Daniel smiled back, and something passed between them. Not attraction, not yet, but recognition. Understanding. Can I see you again? He asked as they stood to leave. Not for the article, just because I'd like to. Sophia hesitated. Trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. But there was something about Daniel that felt different. Safe. Real. Maybe, she said. As she drove home, Sophia's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think you've won? This isn't over. You took everything from me. I'll take everything from you. M. Sophia's hands tightened on the wheel. Marcus wasn't done. And neither was she. When the man you destroyed refuses to stay down, how far will you go to protect everything you've built? The ultimate payback. The threat escalates. The threatening messages started small. Late-night texts, hang-up calls. Then they got worse. Sophia found her car's tires slashed. Her office window was broken. Someone spray-painted thief across her front door in the middle of the night. The police were sympathetic, but limited. Without proof it's him, there's not much we can do, the officer said. taking notes that Sophia knew would lead nowhere. But she knew. Marcus was unraveling, and he was coming for her. Daniel insisted on staying with her. They'd been seeing each other for 3 weeks now, carefully, cautiously. He knew about Marcus, about Vanessa, about everything, and he'd appointed himself her protector. Sleeping on her couch, walking her to her car, checking the locks obsessively. "You don't have to do this," Sophia said one evening, as he made dinner in her kitchen. "Yes, I do." Daniel looked at her, his expression serious. "You're not going through this alone." Something in Sophia's chest loosened. For 5 years she'd been alone even when married. Now, with Marcus terrorizing her and her future uncertain, she wasn't alone anymore. The revelation. Richard called at midnight 3 days later. "Sophia, we have a problem." She sat up in bed, heart racing. "What?" Marcus filed a countersuit. "He's claiming you coerced him into signing over the restaurants, that you manipulated the creditors, that the transfers were fraudulent. That's insane, I know. And we can fight it. But there's something else." Richard paused. "He's claiming you were having an affair." "With me?" Sophia's blood ran cold. "What?" "He has photographs. Doctored ones, but convincing. He's trying to discredit you. Make it look like we conspired together." "He can't. He can. And he is. The hearing is in 2 days." Sophia hung up and stared at the ceiling. Marcus wasn't just trying to get his business back. He was trying to destroy her reputation, her credibility, everything she'd built. Daniel appeared in the doorway. "What happened?" She told him everything. Daniel listened, his expression darkening with every word. "We need to go on offense," he said finally. "What do you mean?" "Marcus is desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. We need to make him make one big enough that he can't recover." The trap. Daniel's plan was simple, but risky. Sophia would agree to meet Marcus privately, wearing a wire provided by Richard's investigator. She'd let Marcus talk, let him threaten her, let him incriminate himself. "It's dangerous," Richard warned. "If he realizes what you're doing, I can handle Marcus," Sophia said, but her hands were shaking when she sent the text. "We need to talk. Tonight. The house. Just you and me." Marcus responded immediately, finally ready to apologize. Sophia wanted to throw her phone across the room. Instead, she wrote yes. The meeting. Marcus arrived at 9 p.m., looking haggard. His suit was wrinkled, his hair unkempt. He'd lost weight, and there were dark circles under his eyes. But his expression was still arrogant, still certain he'd win. "I knew you'd come around," he said, walking into the house like he still owned it. Sophia closed the door, her heart hammering. The wire was hidden under her shirt, the recorder in her pocket. Daniel and Richard were listening from a van parked down the street. "I made a mistake," Sophia said, forcing the words out. "I shouldn't have taken the restaurants." Marcus smiled. "Damn right you shouldn't have. I was angry, hurt. I wasn't thinking clearly. You were being vindictive. Just like your father always was." Marcus poured himself a drink from the bar without asking. "But I'm willing to forgive you. If you sign everything back over to me." "And the divorce?" We'll drop it. Go back to how things were. Marcus moved closer. I made mistakes too, Sophia. Vanessa meant nothing. It was just physical. You're my wife. That's what matters. Sophia felt bile rise in her throat. And if I say no? Marcus's expression hardened. Then I'll destroy you. The lawsuit is just the beginning. I have friends, connections. I'll make sure no one ever trusts you again. The charity? Gone. Your reputation? Ruined. You'll be known as the woman who seduced her lawyer and stole her husband's life's work. I didn't seduce Richard. Doesn't matter. People believe what they want to believe. Marcus finished his drink. And I'll make them believe you're a lying, manipulative bitch who got what she deserved. Sophia's hands clenched. Why are you doing this? Because you humiliated me. Marcus slammed the glass down. You took everything I built and made me look like a fool. Do you know what people say about me now? That I'm the idiot who let his fat wife steal his business. There it was, the truth he'd been hiding for years. He'd never loved her, he'd tolerated her, and now that she'd beaten him, he couldn't stand it. I'm not fat, Sophia said quietly. And I'm not your wife anymore. Marcus's face twisted. You'll always be nothing without me. Actually, a voice said from the doorway, she's everything without you. Marcus spun around. Daniel stood there, his phone in his hand recording. Behind him, Richard and 2 police officers appeared. Marcus Winters, one officer said, you're under arrest for harassment, stalking, and making terroristic threats. What no? Marcus backed away. She set me up. You set yourself up, Sophia said. Her voice was steady now, strong. Every threat, every message, every word you just said, it's all recorded. And this time, you're not talking your way out of it. The consequences. The trial was quick. Between the recorded confession, the documented threats, and testimony from Sophia and multiple witnesses, Marcus was convicted. He received 2 years in prison for stalking and harassment, plus additional charges for fraud and tax evasion that Richard's investigation had uncovered. Vanessa tried to distance herself, claiming she'd been manipulated too, but the evidence of her own scheming came to light. Her affair with David, her attempts to steal Marcus's business. Her reputation was shredded, her investments lost. She fled the city in disgrace. David Lynn was arrested for embezzlement, having been caught stealing from the restaurants during the chaos. Sophia stood in the courtroom as the judge read the verdict and felt the final piece of her old life fall away. She'd won. Not just the legal battle, but the war for her own soul. The new beginning. 6 months later, Sophia stood on the balcony of her new apartment, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson. The restaurants were thriving under her management. The foundation had helped over 200 people. And Daniel was inside, making dinner, humming off-key to a song on the radio. He'd asked her to move in with him 2 months ago. She'd said yes. Dinner's ready, he called. Sophia turned, smiling, coming. As she walked inside, she passed a mirror and stopped. The woman looking back at her was different from the one who'd walked into that hotel room, stronger, wiser, unbroken. Her phone buzzed. A text from Richard. Marcus's appeal was denied. He'll serve the full sentence. Sophia deleted the message. She didn't need to think about Marcus anymore. He was the past, a cautionary tale, a mistake she'd learned from. "You okay?" Daniel asked, setting plates on the table. "Yeah." Sophia kissed his cheek. "I'm perfect." Later that night, as they sat together watching a movie, Daniel took her hand. "I have something to tell you," he said. Sophia's heart skipped. "What?" "I got offered a job. Foreign correspondent, based in London. It's a huge opportunity, but I don't want to leave you." Sophia looked at him, this man who'd stood by her through the worst months of her life, who'd never asked for anything except the chance to be there. "Then don't," she said. "Come with me." Daniel blinked. "What?" "I've been thinking about expanding the foundation, opening branches in other cities, maybe even internationally. London would be perfect." Sophia squeezed his hand. "We could do it together." Daniel's face broke into a smile. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." Sophia leaned in, kissing him softly. "I spent 5 years living someone else's dream. It's time to build my own." The final victory. 1 year later, Sophia stood in front of a crowd of 200 people at the grand opening of the James Winters Foundation's London office. Daniel was beside her, now her fiancé, his hand warm in hers. The event was covered by every major news outlet. Sophia's story had inspired thousands. The woman who'd turned betrayal into triumph, who'd refused to be broken. As she gave her speech talking about resilience and second chances, Sophia spotted a familiar face in the crowd. A young woman, maybe 25, with tears streaming down her face. After the speech, the woman approached. "Ms. Winters, I just wanted to thank you. My husband was cheating on me, and I felt so alone, so worthless. But your story gave me the courage to leave. I filed for divorce last month." Sophia took the woman's hands. "You're going to be okay. Better than okay. You're going to be free." The woman nodded, wiping her eyes, and walked away. Daniel wrapped his arm around Sophia's waist. "You're changing lives." "I'm trying," Sophia said. That night, back in their London flat, Sophia received one final message. From Marcus. "I hope you're happy. You destroyed everything I built." Sophia stared at the message for a long moment. Then she typed her response. "No, I destroyed the lie you built. And I'm not happy, I'm free, there's a difference. I hope someday you understand that." She blocked his number and set her phone down. Marcus was right about one thing. She had destroyed everything he built. His empire of lies, his carefully constructed facade, his ability to hurt her. And from those ashes, she'd built something real, something lasting, something that mattered. Sophia looked at Daniel, who was reading on the couch, and smiled. This was what victory looked like. Not revenge, not destruction. Freedom. When you finally let go of the person who hurt you, you discover something surprising. You were never broken. You were just held captive by someone else's lie. And now you're unstoppable.